All right, let's go to our next conference. That is the Big 10. The Wolverines winning the conference the last 2 years. They're talking about the Big 2, Little 10 is what they used to say back in the day. But I don't think that's true anymore, Fresh. What say you?
Well, before I really dive into preview, I have a really cool stat here, and this is going to lead to where we're going with the rest of my preview. But between 2013 and 2022, 9 of the 10 players of the year in the league have been a Buckeye or Nittany Lion. Buckeyes have owned 7 of them. The Nittany Lions own the other 2. What school/player is the other remaining 10th item? Do you have any guess?
From what are the years again?
Between 2013 and 2022.
I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin.
You got the school right, not the player. Melvin Gordon got it in 2014.
But had the position right.
You had the position right. Badger running back. But that just shows what I want to try to get to is the dominance of Ohio State offensively ever since almost around Urban Meyer arrival period. And they've been able to put that to become a factory of quarterbacks. The only Buckeye not to win it that's a quarterback was Zeke, who was a running back. But they just put out players left and right. And the story's not changing this year with Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, and Emeka Ibuka and the loaded talent in the backfield. They just put players together. And that is going to be very key this year going forward is using that offensive mentality and finding ways to win football games, get over the hump against Michigan after the past 2 years of struggling there. But they've owned the league, and I have a feeling that's going to lead to what they're going to have this year, owning the league. I'm calling it now. I'm going to start off Ohio State's winning the Big Ten. It's done. Write it up. Put it in history books. The Buckeyes are taking care of it. Their defense is going to be a lot better. Their offense is going to be lethal. I don't care who the quarterback is. They're going to figure it out. They're on a mission. They've come close the past 2 years. Their only obstacle really in the regular season is Michigan. If they get past them, they're in the Big Ten title game, and they have a clear path to the playoff. This team is locked in. This team is focused. They have a drive behind them, and they have the offensive, defensive talent and recruiting to get it done. So now that I've skipped ahead to the very end, I'm going to talk about the games that are going to get us there in the end of the season. The first game I'm looking at, Wisconsin at Illinois. Has Luke Fickell actually gotten this team there? We've heard a lot of, they've got a bunch of recruits there. They brought a bunch of quarterbacks in. They've changed the offense. There's a new vibe there in Madison. The former Badger head coach down there, Brett Bielema, is down at Illinois. Put together a big year last year, got them sort of back on the map, and I think they're still growing. Is all the hype from the offseason truly real? Can they go beat Illinois? Or is that just on the hype in the offseason and Illinois is still good? That's going to be a big game to keep an eye on, October 21st. The next one, Penn State at Ohio State, October 21st. Later that afternoon, it's probably going to be a night game. Can Penn State get over the hump? Can they go into Columbus and get it done? Can Ohio State, who's already been probably battle-tested by then, can they find a way to knock off the Nittany Lions again and keep moving on in a path? That's a game that obviously is going to be on everyone's radar. Everyone's going to be there. I'm sure Fox will have the whole thing, but that's a big game on my radar as well to watch. And then keeping the Nittany Lions involved, November 11th, the Wolverines go to Happy Valley. Can the Wolverines win a big road game like they did last year up in Ohio State? This game could be the last game, 2 weeks in advance before they play the game. If they stumble here, that puts a lot more pressure on that final game of the year. They could still lose one and beat Ohio State and make the playoff, but they've got to final. They can't trip up and then trip up again. They're done. Jim Harbaugh's been talking a lot. They've been saying they're great. They have a whole, beat Georgia section of their practice period. This game could be that, stub their toe moment because Penn State's going to be a lot better than everyone thinks. And we've been talking about Penn State for a long time. Got to be focused there if you're the Wolverines going into a hostile environment late in the season. And how does J.J. McCarthy survive that element? And that's going to be interesting to watch.
They have a beat TCU segment in there too?
I don't think they skipped that part.
Yeah. So, Fresh, I'm coming down to 5 games, or 3 games, and I kind of have 5 on my initial list here that I'm looking for with it. I'm going to go September 23rd. It's already been announced as a whiteout game, and that's Iowa traveling to Penn State. Iowa's going to have a phenomenal defense. The questions with the Hawkeyes is going to be Kincaid McNamara, who transferred from the Wolverines to Iowa, kind of be the shot in their arm on the offensive side of the football. This is always a tight game. Iowa always gives Penn State a lot of trouble when they come to Happy Valley. I like this game. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I take the under in that game, depending on where that line comes in. But I think that's going to be a very defensive side of the football game. I like that September 23rd. Iowa at Penn State. The second game I had is November 18th, and that is Nebraska at Wisconsin, going to Camp Randall. I think we're going to learn a lot about both of these programs going into the 24 season, because where's Matt Rule got Nebraska to? He's going to have to defrost Nebraska, pun intended right there. And Luke Fickell is really going to be remaking the Badgers into his own image, the talent. They got Tanner Mordecai there. They got this beast of a running back named Braylon Allen over there. He's phenomenal. Wisconsin, you could go on around the corner and pick up some farm boys and they'll block for you and get 1,100 yards as a running back. There's a lot of talent there in Wisconsin. Where does Luke Fickell have that team at the end of the season? Where does Matt Rule have that team at the end of the season? I'm interested to see where both these first-year coaches go for the Big Ten. And then the game is always the most important game in the Big Ten. That's Ohio State traveling up to Ann Arbor to face the Wolverines. That's going to come down to it. Ohio State has lost this game 2 years in a row. It's been over 3 years since they've had a victory in this game. Nothing would kind of maybe ease some of Ryan's Day's critics than going up to Ann Arbor and getting a win up there. That's a huge game for them. The Wolverines are going to look to kind of continue their win streak here. It's going to be a tough place. If Jim Knowles' defense is kind of improved, like the Ohio State's chances there, that's really going to come down to it. There's a good possibility that the Big Ten could see 3 teams at 11-1. Penn State's got a lot of talent there. The Wolverines have a bunch of talent, and so do the Buckeyes. My player to watch this season is going to be one of my favorite things and one of my favorite running backs in the entire league, Nicholas Singleton. I love this kid. He scares the living bejesus out of me for being an Ohio State fan. I don't want to play him, and I think he's one of the best running backs in the entire country. I like some other guys, some other places, but I really, really like Singleton. They have a great running back room there in Happy Valley, but my champion is going to be Ohio State. I'm going to say this is going to be the year they figure it out. I think Ryan Day is motivated. I think the Buckeyes are pissed for what happened last year. So give me Ohio State going into this season. But my surprise team, and I couldn't pick between the two of them because I think both of them are going to surprise some people.
Well, my surprise team is going to be Illinois. I think everyone's overlooking them. They've lost a bunch of guys last year, lost the whole secondary. I think Brett Bielema's got that program reset, and they're going to be in a great spot to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and mine too are the Maryland Terrapins. I think that they're building something good in Maryland, and also the Iowa Hawkeyes. And I think that the transfer of Cade McNamara and being able to kind of improve that offense, Iowa may be really, really tough this season. So interested to see how both of those teams play out this year.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the players and the whole thing, we talk all the star-studded guys. The guy I'm really watching, though, is Emeka Ibuka. He's the other, quote-unquote, other receiver for Ohio State. How is he going to get the coverage? How is he going to adjust when Marvin Harris is going to get all the attention? I think he's going to be in for a big year. He's always put up stats the past few years he's been there, but now he's a chance to really, truly shine and add more accolades to being the Ohio State receivers of the recent past where they've been dominant. If he has a chance to really put up some numbers, boost his NFL stock, but become that two-pronged attack that they have to really help out Kyle McCord in that offense.
Right.